Historians, Miss Melton here to talk to you about the 14th Amendment. Let's first read our text from the Pearson Textbook. The 14th Amendment was approved in July 1868. It guaranteed equality under the law for all citizens, and it gave Congress the power to enforce this guarantee. It also ruled that important Confederate leaders could not be elected to political office. So remember, an amendment is an addition to our Constitution. So because it's an addition, Congress now has the power to enforce it. So if citizens are not being treated equally, then the Congress can go in and make sure that the states are abiding by the Constitution, and that Confederate leaders who might try and go against the 14th Amendment could not be elected to political office. New amendments. Before being readmitted into the Union, former Confederate states had to accept two amendments. The 14th, ratified in July 1868, gave African Americans citizenship and said that no state could deny the equal protection of the law to all citizens. So remember, with the Reconstruction plan, each state had to write a new state constitution, and part of that was to agree to the 14th Amendment, which gave African American citizenship, and that they had to be treated equally. So now let's look at the Scott Forsman website about the 14th Amendment. This is a picture of John Bingham, a representative from Ohio, and he was the primary author of the Equal Protection Clause. So what does it actually say? There's a couple of sections here. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, including Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election of the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of each state being 21 years of age, and the citizens of the United States are any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in each state. Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or an elector of President and Vice President, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States under any state, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of the insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5. The Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So what does that mean? Well, it means the 14th Amendment made former slaves of the United States and the state in which they lived, so they are now citizens. Furthermore, the 14th Amendment also made it illegal for any state to deny equal rights to any person. Section 2 of the 14th Amendment penalizes any state that tries to restrict male voting in federal elections. And Section 3 prohibited officers in the Confederacy from holding federal offices. So when it says in rebellion, those are people who were with the Confederacy. And Section 4 voided all Confederate debts incurred during the Civil War. In addition, it promised that former slave owners could not be reimbursed for their freed slaves, because some Confederate plantation owners wanted to basically be paid because they didn't have slaves anymore. So they couldn't do that. They could former Confederate officers or politicians could not hold office or run for election. And the biggest thing was that former slaves are now citizens, so they have equal rights just like any other citizen in the Constitution. So remember to think about this as like a cause and effect chart. If the cause is the 14th Amendment, what might the effect be? Well, now former slaves are now citizens, and they have equal protection under the 14th Amendment in the Constitution, and it can be enforced.